Hi, this is Mark Kosko in Jackson, Mississippi. I'd like to share an interesting case of a white cataract that I did the other day on a 44-year-old African American female with significant diabetes. We've made 2 paracenteses. We're infusing some non-preserved lidocaine followed by some air, followed by some trypan blue. This will stain the capsule. This is viscoat riding the wave across, as Kathy Patterson at the VA in Memphis, Tennessee taught me to do. This is a 2.2 diamond from Mastel. Here what we're doing, we're just really pressurizing the eye. You can almost argue that since I'm working through the paracentesis here that I didn't even have to make my main wound yet. But I'm very worried about an Argentinian flag, so I pressurized the eye really, really high and punctured the capsule. I was ready for a run out, but you see I don't really have much milky material coming, so I think I'm okay. I'm still going to be cautious and kind of keep it, pretty conservatively sized. And at this point it looks decently sized, doesn't look overtly small, but I am being real self-conscious. I don't want it to run out, so just trying not to overdo it, but we're just going to go around, complete this through the paracentesis with these MST capsular rexis forceps. We're going to do some 100 dissection, and you'll see it really rotates pretty easily here, but we do want to get it nice and loosened up. There we go. It's starting to turn. Then we'll go in with our phaco tip on a pink sleeve Centurion. Take a little bit of the surface material off, get down to the nucleus, which is really not that dense, and I can tell that it's kind of crumbly, so I'm choosing to do a horizontal chop here with this Cybele horizontal chopper. I learned to do Cybele horizontal chopper in Birmingham, Alabama, from Jason Swanner. Prior to that, I was a resident in Memphis and was using a Nicomin triple nucleus chopper. But I've ended up liking the Cybele for horizontal chopping. We're just going to kind of, you'll see I gave a little burst of longitudinal phaco to kind of bury the tip. It takes almost no energy to do that. And then we'll go into quadrant mode and just kind of take it. It's not superly dense, it's just kind of crumbly. Just sort of slowly go around and get all this stuff where you can kind of see the posterior capsule there. It's intact. We just want to make sure it doesn't jump up at us since our bag has been pretty distended. Again, she's 44 and got this cataract from significant uncontrolled diabetes. And so I'm sort of thinking that if she gets her diabetes controlled and lives a long time, whatever we leave here at the end of the case is going to be there for potentially decades. So I'm thinking about things like, how much lens epithelial cells we leave, how much is that going to contribute to a Sommering's formation. So you saw I infused BSS during the changeover there to keep her chamber deep. There's not a ton of cortex here. We'll polish the posterior capsule, and kind of go on and use the INA handpiece to get some of the LECs off. Obviously we can't really go sub-incisional with this, but we'll slowly go around getting as much as we can with the INA handpiece. We'll fill that with Provisc as we're coming out. Give a little bit more Provisc to get us nice and deep, because when we polish, we want to make sure that we're not polishing the back of the iris. But we really do want to get all this stuff off. I'm kind of noticing that my rexis is small now that the cataract has been removed, and really don't want to get a capsular phimosis. We're planning to use an Alcon lens here, and in my anecdotal experience, there's a little bit more reactivity between the capsule and the lens with Alcon acrylic, and so I really do want to get that all clean. And so I'm sort of thinking to myself that I might enlarge the rexis. So rather than go in with the INA tip, I'm pushing it in with the Cybele chopper, and I'm gonna put a little bit more Provisc in, and I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, for a 44-year-old, it's just a little bit small of a rexis, and I'm just worried about her being young and potential for inflammation and phimosis, and so I'm just thinking, you know what, let's just enlarge it. Oh, the other thing I should mention is, you know, even with you know, all the modern ways to do biometry, you still have a potential for refractive surprise post-operatively with a white cataract. So should I have to do an exchange or something, I don't want the rexis to have been too small. Obviously, if we're worried about exchange, you can also do a LASIK touch-up. But at any rate, I decided to just kind of go in with the MST, capsular rexis forceps. And this is, you know, sort of painfully slow, because you really have to be careful that you're not pulling inward, or it will terminate rather quickly on you. And then you've got to re-nick it with the MST micro scissors and start again. So you, rather than do that, you just re-grasp and make sure your forces aren't towards the center at all. So here to improve visualization, I put just the last little dollop of Provisc in. Now I'm going back in through the other pair with my left hand, lest you be overly impressed. I'm pretty sure I'm stabilizing my left hand with my right hand, but we're just trying not to terminate it too soon, because on the right side of the screen we really do have a fair amount of capsule there that we want to make sure that we enlarge, and we do, for whatever reason, have this awkward corneal edema to the right of the main incision, but we're bringing it around, and there, we got it. We'll pull some of those capsular remnants out, and you'll see, you can see in that view we now have a nice overlap, overlap of the capsule, 360 degrees around, but with a rexis that is just the right size, not too small. So we'll get viscoelastic from underneath the lens, and we'll get as much debris out of the anterior chamber as possible. I just call it like lens dust debris. So what I'm doing here is I'm irrigating with balanced salt solution through the para, into the sulcus, into the capsular bag, and getting all the last little bits out here. And we got a pretty clean, quiet eye. I put pressure on the wound so it doesn't collapse, and then immediately go to a little hydration, although it's already pretty edematous there. And we instill cefuroxime at the end, and that's it. And I think there's a video of one of my children here at the end. Thank you for watching.
Tell us what you did.
She's a monster.
What did you do? What did you do?
What did you do with your poppy seed chicken?
In my hair. Did you know the poppy seed chicken goes in your mouth?
Oh.
No. Yeah, it does.
Where did you put it?
In my hair.